Hello to each and every one of you. We post accounts of people's near-death experiences that they have shared with us here at Logical-NDE. If you've never visited one of our videos before, we'd like to let you know that we make them with people with open minds who are interested in learning about the hereafter in view. Please help us out if you actually enjoy these kinds of tales by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel. This will allow you to keep up with all of our most recent offerings, such as this one. As for our regular viewers, let us begin rolling today's episode while you sit back and relax with your favorite beverage in your hand. Today's story comes from Mrs. Hailey, who shares her near-death experience when she caught herself in a fire and passed out. While her body was being taken to different hospitals, Hailey found herself on the other side. It took her 30 long minutes to get back, and she was taught all the lessons her 22 years of life couldn't teach her. Let's dig into the death experience in Hailey's own words. My name is Hailey. I come from the city Vancouver, situated in Canada. The year 2002 was when this strange incident took place in my life and brought an entire 180-degree change to it. I was skeptical about sharing this piece of such personal information online on a YouTube channel, but my husband suggested this channel to me and motivated me to give it a go. The day this incident took place was any other normal day of our lives. As a mother of twin toddlers and a working husband, I was up early. It was around 5 in the morning. My husband would usually leave at around 6:30 a.m. I went to check on both of my sons when I found one of them awake. It was strange, as Ted was the one out of the two who always slept in. I took him out of his crib and carried him to the kitchen with me. I settled him on his chair while I started preparing breakfast for myself and my husband. As I was setting out the dishes on the table, my son Ted started crying. I got distracted, and while singing him songs to keep him quiet, I didn't notice that while pouring hot water in the mugs, my satin nightgown had accidentally caught fire. I panicked, and the next moment, the kettle fell on my feet with all the hot water splashing over me. That's when everything went wrong. There were flames everywhere. I screamed out my husband's name as I felt an intense burning sensation all over my upper body as my feet burned along. My husband appeared in the doorway within half a minute and wrapped me up in a towel nearby to lessen the flames. He called my neighbour to look after the boys. She, who had already heard my screams, came to the doorway right away. Within a minute, my husband carried me to the car, while the pain I felt started stinging to the point that I passed out. My husband's voice calling out my name started to fade until I completely stopped hearing him. Out of nowhere, I could feel the cold air hitting my burnt skin, and it produced more stinging over my skin. I tried to motion my husband to close the windows, but what I saw next sucked the breath out of me. I was within the clouds, being carried somewhere within the mid-air. I tried to move or stop myself, but couldn't move voluntarily even by an inch. There were no scars or burn marks on my body, but I could still feel the hurt all over my body. Within a few seconds, I stood before a door which was heavily chained. It was somewhere in the skies amid the clouds. I couldn't feel any emotion at that moment. I stood before that door until the chains came undone automatically and I got pushed inside. I turned back to catch a look of who had pushed me, but the door had closed itself again. Inside was a sight full of horrors. I had never even in my worst nightmare imagined what beheld me. The air had grown thick with soot inside, and far away there was red-hot lava that was flowing in a big field. My feet burnt to even stand still. I could feel all of my skin melting right to the ground. The heat in that area was so intense, for a second, I expected my organs to start melting away into liquid. It felt as if time had gone timeless there. My feet shook with the increasing heat of that place, with fire burning in a distance. I was petrified. It looked as if everything was going to be destroyed right away. The next minute, when I had completely burned down and my blood had begun boiling within my body, I heard a voice saying, "Follow me." At first, I was scared to follow the source of the voice because I could only see a ray of light, but due to the increased heat and horrors of the place where I stood, I had no choice but to follow the voice. As I followed it, the air suddenly changed itself to a very fragrant one. The scene around me had changed all over to a beautiful, lush green scenery. That was the moment when I realized I had been brought into heavens, after being shown the glimpses of the terrors of hell. It soon started drizzling, and the air filled with fresh soil smell. Not very far away, I could hear a river flowing by. Everything in there calmed me down in entirety. There was peace and tranquility in the very atmosphere of the heavens. The same voice I had heard earlier hit back to my ears. "You'll be brought here again." That was the very moment my eyes opened in my world. It took me a second to adjust to my surroundings, but the stinging wounds of mine made me realize what had actually happened to me. I remembered the burns and the way fire had caught me, and how it took me to hell for a long while. I was at the hospital in the operation theatre then. I called out for my husband, who was summoned. I kept crying so much that the doctors were forced to give me anesthesia to knock me out. My burns took a year to heal, but they healed completely. In that 1 year full of surgeries and hospital checkups and appointments, I also started taking therapy. That was where I learned that what I had experienced that day was a near-death experience. My learning process began from that time, and I turned over a new leaf. I felt myself becoming more patient, more God-fearing, and much more stronger than before. I knew I had to change myself, and I always changed for the better. I knew I did not want to be put in hell, in the raging fires ever. I had realized that in order to escape it, there was only one way to take: to lead a good life. And that is what I started to do. It took me a long while, with 2 toddlers, but I was successful after a while. My husband stood with me throughout this journey and made it possible for me to have a renewed faith in God and become a better person than I am today. That was all from Miss Hailey's experience. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. If you have any thoughts regarding her visit to the next world, make sure to leave a comment down below. Remember to be respectful at all times. In case you really liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and spread it among friends who share the same interest of knowing about the afterlife experiences as you. Till the next time, stay blessed.